Now, taking a note from my mentor's book is bottom line first. Obviously, as you can tell, we're looking at Tesla, and I've been hearing a lot of moans and noises about how Tesla is ready for a breakout and how everything is great with Tesla. So I decided it's about time to make a video and kind of say what I see and how I predict things to play out from here on out. So as Tom says, bottom line first, no, I don't think Tesla is ready for a breakout, and let me explain exactly why. This way is the way where most people would see Tesla or look at the charts. In fact, sadly, most people would look at the chart this way, which completely takes away all the wicks and the extended price action that usually would be able to use to measure various forces at play. I would be looking at the chart this way, which you can tell quite clearly what's going on here right away. First of all, we have here a diagonal resistance, a ceiling, if you will, that has been maintained and respected for quite a long time, pretty much since November 21st. And as you can tell, since then, every time we hit that ceiling, we got rejected. At times, we didn't even fully make it to that ceiling, and we got rejected. Some, of course, would be very attentive to things like an inverted head and shoulders right here, which is all nice and dandy. Some would argue that we even just now had another one, essentially, another head and shoulders right here. You can inverted head and shoulders rather, as you can tell right here. And as you also can tell, the price action itself is right below that detrimental resistance, which we have not crossed yet. And from here on out, of course, there are a couple of things that some people would look at that would be SMAs, simple moving averages, which you on the daily you would use a conjunction of the 50 and the 200. And of course, as you can tell right now, the forces are not working in our benefit, basically right here. Okay, as you can tell, this is the 50, this is the 200, and the forces are currently implying that although the price action have broken through, which has happened before, even during these sort of times, we can see the price action can break through. We can see some sort of close convergence there, but not really, and the price action continues to go down. Now, the reason I'm not too attentive to the harmonics, because it's not really indicative of anything other unless if you're already somewhere along the process and you recognize that this is what the market is probably headed to do. But for right now, we can tell that the forces are sort of against us. Now, how else do I know? Is when you apply a basic momentum indicator. In this particular instance, although this is again not the secret sauce, exactly how I do this in my day to day, but it just to show and sort of convey the idea. So as you can tell on the stochastic RSI, every time the price action reaches above that detrimental 80 level, right into these areas, the overbought area. Even if we do stay within it for a little while, usually that's indicative right before we have a convergence of the forces and the price action dips downwards. In this instance, for example, or in this instance, for example, basically on an overall downtrend, this whole process those of you who know how to perceive and how to look at the charts will recognize there's a more efficient way to look at this. But the bottom line for the average investor, trader, and again, this is not financial advice. Nobody will manage your portfolio better than you will. Nobody will give you better advice that the decisions that you will make for your own self. So this is not financial advice. But the way I can perceive this is that the forces are right now implying to us that we're going to get again the resistance play its part, and basically make the price action get rejected. If it's some would ask about this gap, for example, or the more sharp-eyed would probably ask about this gap, which this gap is actually a false gap. Although I can tell you that if the price action will find itself within its vicinity, probably within these levels, which some of these levels, as you can tell, are a little bit more stronger than others. Of course, they represent essentially a floor of sorts. So as you can tell, very potentially if we're going to hit these potential supports or floors, if you will, we probably will get magnetized into these areas, not because there is an active gap that there needs to be closed, simply because of slippage and other sort of various elements that I talk about in the community quite often. By the way, mentioning the community, shout out to our Discord community that just crossed 1,200 people. And of course, there will be links in the description below. Now, with that in mind, that kind of goes to show what my assessment is. And by the way, those who will jump, what happens if I switch to the weekly chart, right, which basically shows us a longer duration process, you'll recognize that it's the same thing. We're basically looking at the same sort of formation, the same sort of situation right here, that we're probably are far more poised to go for a correction rather than to break through this resistance. Of course, anything and everything can happen, but I don't think this is the instance where we're going to break out. In my opinion, we're going to break back down. Those of you who follow my videos before knew that before this 140 area ever happened, earlier around these areas around the 200s, I made a video and said clearly that we're going to be testing the levels of 140 or actually, pardon me, completely misspoke when we were around here, and we ended up testing the 140 right here. Pardon me, my bad. I looked at the wrong thing. So yeah, in my assessment, basically we're going to see something very similar. And as I described in my older videos, once we test the 140, it's not such a surprise that we tested back up to the 200 area. Although I've assessed that by now this resistance will be slightly, basically will be further down the line, so hence we're going to be finding resistance at around 200, not 230, but still the same vicinity, as you can tell. And from here on out, my expectation is that we're going to test 150, 140 again, and then break back to $100. Yes, my expectation that we will eventually find ourselves. I'm not saying that will happen tomorrow. I'm not saying it will happen within a week. But those who follow my videos know my reasoning and why I expect the markets to see a significant downturn somewhat soon. In fact, I would say the markets are far overstretched, and I did not expect the markets to go as high as we have. And that would probably potentially, and the delivery numbers, of course, there are good news that are coming out with regard to Tesla. But if you ask my opinion, all of this is chump change, and these evaluations are chump change. Tesla, and for those who don't know, I'm not bearish on Tesla at all. In fact, I'm very bullish, but I believe the true value of Tesla will show itself further down the line when the robotics division and in general the energy sector of Tesla, the energy segment of Tesla will be far more advanced and will start bringing more revenue. That is my expectation with regards to Tesla. So sadly, for right now, to bring it down to earth, I don't expect Tesla to break out. I expect Tesla to break back down. It does not mean it's going to be straight down to 100. If anything, it's probably going to be some form of retest around the 140, 150, 160 area. And only then, after we're going to get rejected from that, finally towards the 100. But I believe conditions in the market will smell as and will imply that what's gonna happen anyways, and I believe there will be a lot less doubt about this process. So with that in mind, guys and girls, thank you very much for watching. If you want to be up to speed and be in the know when I post videos, please like, subscribe, share, do all the wonderful stuff that YouTube wants. And just for your own good sake, you'll be able always to know what I'm thinking of about the market. Thank you for your time. Peace out. See you in the next one.